is a short video on how to make a Gantt chart or a work plan. Now, first thing I want to point out is that you don't actually have to make a work plan or a Gantt chart rather for this unit of study that we're covering. You do need some sort of plan, but it doesn't have to be a Gantt chart. So I'm going to sort of show you two methods. Method number one. This is literally exemplar work from OCR, and they have one column with the tasks and one column with the time. Now, what I will stress is this was not high value work. They didn't get a great mark for this, but it was passable. Okay, and you can sort of see that they've sort of made like major points. So like plan the layout and structure, find the pictures for the activity on the master slide, create buttons, create each activity slide, make hyperlinks from all the buttons. So they've got these major ones, and then they've got these other ones, these sort of smaller points, which are bullet points, and then they've got an idea of how much time things are going to take. And over here, for example, they've said 30 minutes per slide, 5 slides, 2.5 hours. So they've been really clear about how long things are going to take. Now, for us, really, we need to be aiming a little higher than this. So you want to include things like understanding the brief and getting the target audience in there and making sure that you've done some research, that type of stuff. But in principle, this would stand up. Now, how we would convert something like this into a Gantt chart is not hard. You could do this with any number of online tools. In the past, we've used something called Tom's Planner, but I was going to show you how to do it inside of Google Sheets because it's relatively quick, it's easy, you don't need to remember any passwords, that sort of thing. So, on the left-hand side, down here, we're going to have our tasks. So you may as well put a title in here, tasks, and across the top, we would have time. Okay. Now, what would be really handy is if you did this in some sort of unit. So maybe time in hours. Yeah. Now, we'll tidy up the formatting and stuff afterwards, but underneath tasks, you want to start to list things out. So it might be things like read the brief. You could include things like research, target audience. We could take some things from there. So plan, structure, find pictures, so on and so forth. Okay, so you have all your tasks down here. Now, you'll notice here that information is starting to spread out of the box. And I get this question all the time, how do you make that not happen? There are two ways. Way number one, you can come up here to this button, which is text wrapping. You can click the little drop down and you can select this one. And what that'll do is that'll push things onto the next line. That does have the effect of making the row wider, which might make our Gantt chart look a little funny. So it might be a better idea in this instance to come up here, put your cursor right on the dividing line there. And if you double click, it will expand the column to fit the contents of the row. Okay. Next, we want to at least pay some lip service to how long each one of these, how many of these units we think we're going to need. So to begin with, we'll just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, that's roughly what the guidance hours from OCR are. And if you do the same thing again, you just click between each one. We make them nice and short. They will all be the same size, more or less. Like this. Okay, and I'll just grab this and bung it over here out of the way. Hang on, just tidy this up a little. I'll put it down the page then. Right, so there we go. We've got our units there. Now, what we obviously need to think about is things that we're going to sort of actually fill out. So the spaces, I suppose, that we're going to fill out. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it over here, and I'm going to take all of this and move it up a row. It kind of makes things look a little neater. Okay, so I think personally that to read the brief might take me an hour to read it really thoroughly. So I could fill that with some color, and to research the target audience, I think that's easily a couple of hours. You know, to look into the different groups that might be interested in our product, figure out who they are, what sort of things they might like, that type of thing. That's going to be at least a couple of hours. Plan the structure, easy peasy, 1 hour. Okay, finding pictures, we could spend a while doing that without too much difficulty, so we'll say 2 hours. Okay, now haven't really given myself any space here to think about stuff that might overlap. But for example, in the example from OCR down here, where they've said on master slide, right? We might make that, so we could say on master slide. Why has that gone there? We might put that in, or we could make it make master slide, and all this really is a template. Okay, and we could say that it's going to take us, I don't know, 4 hours to do that. Okay, but then these other things down here, we might say insert pictures. We might say set picture sizes. We could say set text boxes. Just exactly what they've got down here. We could say that maybe the pictures are going to take an hour. The picture sizes might take us the following hour, and the text box might take 1 more hour. It's also worth noting that if you honestly don't think that some of these things are going to take you an hour, maybe the thing to do is to not put this in times hours. You would put it in time in minutes, and then you could change these. So maybe you think that the reading the brief would only take you half an hour, so you could say 30. Right? You might need to reset some of the sizes for these by just double clicking there. Okay, you might think, well, actually, I'm only going to have 1 half-hour block, so you maybe leave this as time in hours, and instead of this being 30, you might make it 0.5. Point I'm trying to make, I suppose, is that you need to choose the most appropriate set of units, so you don't end up with all these blocks being all weird and different sizes, because you actually want them to be as consistently sized as possible. And what that might mean that you end up doing is selecting all of those columns, and if I remember rightly, there is a way that you can distribute them. I probably won't be able to find them quickly now, but there is a way that you can set them all to the same size. Maybe it's in format, data tools. Oh, maybe I'm thinking of maybe I'm thinking of something else. Maybe I'm thinking of PowerPoint or something. But the point is, do you want to try? You want to at least try and make sure that these blocks are all similar sized, so that they look like units of time. Okay. In principle, that's it. The only thing I would add at the end is I would probably highlight the whole thing like this, and I would click on this button up here, which allows us to put borders in, and I'd put borders on everything. Okay. I might also do things like blocking out certain sections, so I might make it so that there, for example, was filled with black. I would probably make it so that those are bold, so that they stand out as actual titles, that type of thing. But otherwise, that is a Gantt chart in principle. In a nutshell then, that is 2 ways of doing a work plan. You have a Gantt chart table, looks like this, made in Google Slides, or if you prefer, you can do something like this. Either is fine. I do think this isn't quite detailed enough for our purposes, though. So do make sure you add in 1 or 2 things at the top and at the bottom. But otherwise, that's it. Hope that was helpful. Thank you very much.